It's been a season premiere on SmackDown. It's a brand new SmackDown, slightly different from the previous weeks. The main thing being, there's a Roman Reigns here now, there's a Nick Aldis here now, and there's even a Jade Cargill. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Sati Nyangi on Saturday.
Sat-E-Day.
Sat-E? Did I say Sat-Er?
Yeah, what's a Saturday? Sat-E-Day.
That works much better. Welcome to the WWE SmackDown WrestleTalk Podcast review episode. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, and leave a comment down below with what you thought of this episode while we discuss all the things that have been revamped, I would say. So WWE do this on a yearly basis, weirdly. Never have a season finale. It's just a show that's perpetually premiering again.
A running cycle.
Yeah. It's like how they do anniversary shows the year before that anniversary show is technically valid.
Is it Vinceism, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, he's not around anymore.
Allegedly, no. Listen, because I tend to do the news, and what I say one thing one week, and the next week I'm like, oh, forget what I said last week. Here's this week's news. Allegedly, this is happening now. But so yeah, I'm taking with a pinch of salt. If from 2 years from now, Paul Levesque is still running things creatively, then yeah, I'll believe it. But right now, I'm not. WrestleMania's coming again. You know what happens? WrestleMania happens. Hey, power! I've got one thing I want to say. I want to change some things. You know, Roman Reigns retains at WrestleMania 40.
Let him take a stunner as well.
Oh, no.
Like get in the ring.
And his mustache falls off.
Well, of all the big changes, I would say the biggest here was the one that was presented the least ceremoniously, which is... Here's Adam Pearce. He's been working for a long time. I'm Triple H, by the way. I'm just making an appearance. Well, hey, everyone liked that. Oh, Dominic Mysterio. Everyone's booing him. This is a fun segment. Oh, yeah, by the way, Nick Aldis is now the general manager of SmackDown. And he just walks in. He was just standing at ringside with a cameraman.
Yeah.
Just walks in the ring. He's like, hey, yeah, I'm going to run this place now. Wearing a nice suit. Kind of a John Cena suit.
You think? You mean the one he used to wear when he was a full-timer? That kind of suit? Because he always had a blue suit, right? In the Hall of Fame and stuff. He used to have that one suit he wears all the time.
And for sort of movie junket interviews as well. The Dick Tracy suit.
The Dick Tracy suit.
Yeah, so what's your take? Are you happy that Aldis is in? I'm a huge Nick Aldis fan.
I never knew that till today. I never knew it. And then the way you're like, Nick Aldis has got a big fight feeling. I was like, wow, you're a huge fan.
That NWA title run was brilliant. Fantastic. I like Nick Aldis going back to when he was what was it? Yeah, but before Magnus,
Gladiator days.
When they relaunched Gladiators when I was at university. It was Oblivion. Nice memory. Yeah.
Yes. So you go way back.
Yeah, I'm OG Nick Aldis.
Did you collect the action figure as well? Because he's got an action figure as Oblivious. Someone brought it up on Twitter recently.
Oblivious.
Oblivion. Someone said that because last week I was talking about the WrestleMania tag match and I said Braun Breaker instead of Braun Strowman. And then in the comment they pointed out how I never corrected myself, as in I completely forgot who was in that match. Yeah. But Nick Aldis, I am a fan. I am a fan. His title reign was incredible. I'm worried that he's been living in America for too long, so his accent is quite affected. I don't know. He says certain words, you're like, bless him, you got an American wife, aren't you? And your child's mid-Atlantic at best. I feel like him being a general manager on SmackDown is Triple H's way of slowly introducing him without any heavy-duty pressure. Because rumor and innuendo is Nick Aldis has some detractors who are not sure on him, and you know, some people that didn't watch NWA Power, because I watched NWA Power during the pandemics and post-pandemic, and I know what Nick Aldis can offer. Even Magnus when he got better, you know.
Oh yeah, he was great champion in Impact.
He was fine, but it's like he never fulfilled his full potential because there was like the backstage shake-ups going on, so that kind of affected his title run as well. AJ was leaving, so he didn't have that much credible opponent. Samoa Joe was sometime in and out, so I feel like his title reign came up during the time when Impact was very unstable. So that's why his NWA title run is kind of like redeeming him of sorts. So for me, he's a fantastic talker, great wrestler, carries himself very much like an old school kind of heel that you don't get that much anymore. But I know how Triple H is thinking. It's like, okay, if I introduce him as a general manager, it takes off the pressure. That's why there's no music, no title trump, because he would have got the anti-pop. Nick Aldis. And then you got fans, Mommy, Daddy, who's Nick Aldis? He's like, he kind of looks like Magnus, but I don't know if it is Magnus. Because not a lot of people watch NWA, unfortunately. So by introducing him as a general manager, you get the crowd warming up to him, get to know him, getting over, and eventually, if he turns heel, might wrestle Kevin Owens, maybe. Because he seems like a kind of guy that might rub off Kevin Owens down the line.
Oh, do you think this is going to be a heel authority figure then?
Not in the beginning. I feel like we're burnt out from the Vince McMahon,
Definitely.
Eric Bischoff-esque heel general managers. That's why for me, Adam Pearce was refreshing because I grew up during the days of Jack Tunney. When you got a neutral authority figure who's not by himself, he's about the matches and he leaves. So that's why I didn't mind Adam Pearce, because Adam Pearce didn't make the show by himself. It's about the wrestlers. Yeah, sometimes he made some oddball decisions that didn't match up with the energy he had with other wrestlers. But I appreciate the fact that he's there for the matches and he leaves. He doesn't linger. So, but Nick Aldis is 35 years old, I think, 35, 36
It's
years
mad,
old.
isn't it? Because he feels like he should be mid-40s, but he started so young. He's the same age as me.
Is he?
If he's 35.
No, I'm wrong. I think because he's born in 1986. So
Okay,
could
so
be
he's only
36.
37.
Yeah, 36, 37, around that
Still.
time. But he's a year younger than Roman Reigns, a year younger than Drew McIntyre, a year younger than Jey Uso, same age as Cody Rhodes. He's in fantastic condition, and I hate the fact that we're going to be wasting him just in a suit. So I'm hoping, this is my take on it, I think is a slow introduction to an on-screen character that will potentially wrestle eventually.
Yeah, I totally agree. Having him come in immediately as a babyface, because the way they played it out was Dominic Mysterio came down and interrupted this announcement. So everyone's booing Dominic Mysterio, and then they announce Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis walks in, and his first introduction to the WWE universe was, very nice to meet you, Dominic. I'm a big fan of your dad. And the crowd were like, hang about. That's a bit funny, isn't it? Who is this guy?
Exactly.
And then he got lots of moments to shine, where he then announced that Kevin Owens was coming to SmackDown. And then, giving Charlotte Flair a title match isn't anything new. But that fed directly into the Jade Cargill cameo and the Jade Cargill-Charlotte Flair standoff backstage. So, yeah, I feel like the way they'll be going with this, because I do think wrestling in general is burnt out from heel authority figures. And I think Triple H said this in my review earlier, is going out of his way to make WWE a babyface promotion. Makes sense when you're in a war, because you want to at least present yourself storyline-wise as the management has a sort of goodness about it, whereas that lets the main heels be your wrestlers. That's smart business for me, because we've had 20 years of, ultimately, whoever's in charge, whether it's Mick Foley or Bryan Danielson or Stephanie McMahon, it will end with Vince McMahon or a proxy coming back and saying, you're rubbish, we're replacing you, because in a very sort of toxic kayfabe way.
What I was going to say is, do you think Nick Aldis is going to be his role throughout his duration in WWE, or do you think, because it's kind of like, it's not for me, it's not, it's either coincidence that the moment we find out allegedly that Vince has no booking power at the moment, Triple H is like, Nick Aldis, now's your time, come. Because in his mind, it's kind of like, Vince is not going to let you wrestle. But wait, you say he's a producer. Why is he not producing? Why is he wrestling? You'd be like, Finley's a producer and he wrestled. I think it's like to let any detractors know, hey, this is the guy that we're investing in. You may not have watched his stuff, but he's a good talker. He's interacting with a wrestler. He comes across as a big deal. And eventually he's hoping that gets over, and then he can transition into a wrestler, possibly. Because it's a weird comparison. But Luther Reigns once started off as an assistant to general manager Kurt Angle, and then he ended up being a wrestler in the end.
Well, I think it's a really satisfying story that WWE, to my knowledge, haven't told for quite some time. I used to love when Jerry Lawler, for instance, back in the early noughties, would go, yep, okay, here's my one match a year that I'm going to have in Taz. And it's a lot more investing, because you're like, well, this isn't a wrestler. He's going against, an active wrestler, and he's going against a full-time wrestler.
Yeah.
Really good story from an underdog babyface thing. So, yeah, I'm hoping that Nick Aldis gets 4 to 6 months of this role, but all the time they're teasing, he's this one heel is really, really rubbing him the wrong way. You know, like I don't want it to be this, but a Grayson Waller. I think your idea of heel Kevin Owens, which
I thought that Nick Aldis is going to turn heel eventually because he's at his best as a heel. As much as he plays a very diplomatic baby face, but we live in a jaded society that gravitates towards rebels.
Well, I agree. Yeah, he is much better as a heel. But I personally am over, and I think most of wrestling fandom's over heel authority figures. So for now, he can be a face, and then it's that slow transition into becoming a wrestler, and then he's a special attraction 4 or 5 times a year, gets a big program. Because I go back to All In, and he had that excellent NWA match with Cody Rhodes. Well, the thing is, it's not a crazy good in-ring match. Like, there's a weird spot where Brandy Rhodes just comes in and... Didn't she get, like, elbow dropped by Nick Aldis? You know, it's classic Cody overbooking. But my God, the presentation, the big fight feel, when Cody comes out and he's got his, like, whole training group with him, and DDP's there, and Tommy Dreamer.
Glacier.
Yeah, and Nick Aldis comes out and he's got, like, his own entourage. That, to me, is... such a Triple H mindset when he was producing NXT in those big shows. So having like that I bet Triple H watched that All In match, man. Man, I hate all this indie bollocks that the Bucks are doing. But Cody versus Nick Aldis is my favorite thing on this pay-per-view. And now they're all in the same company together.
Yeah.
So, like, Cody wins. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Why not?
Cody Rhodes wins the belt at Mania.
Yes.
Who's your first opponent? It's a heel-turning Nick Aldis, who's also the authority figure on SmackDown.
There you go. See? You booked it well.
Yeah.
You're giving time for fans to get invested in him, and then he turns out to be a sneaky, conniving, you know what, and then you got Cody Rhodes who's trying to save the day.
That's a great feud into SummerSlam.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because he's been wasted. Like, it's quite hard because he's done everything he can do in NWA. For those people that followed his career in NWA, he's done everything he can do. He's part of the booking team, He's rinsed out every program he can have in NWA. He went back to Impact, but unfortunately, as much as Impact is like a rehab island for certain wrestlers, he's done everything he can do there. It's kind of like going backwards, and in the back of his mind, he probably grew up as a WWE fan, and he's always like, what if, I'm in the prime of my career, my in-ring skills where it should be, my promo skills where it should be, my presentation is key. What's missing? Because I even heard like Bruce Pritchard mention certain reasons why, and made up reasons or whatever. So to see him now, for people that have never seen him, because you get social media, some people that got propaganda against certain wrestlers say something, and if you've never seen it, you're like, yeah, he's rubbish, or yeah, he's boring. You'll see him, you'll be like, okay, you know what? He got something to offer. He can wrestle even better. Let's go with it. And his wife is Mickie James. Mickie James might come back.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the reports. Might not happen, seems, because he's obviously come in as a solo person. But yeah, Mickie James always had that an on-off relationship with WWE.
She was tweeting
now it's a new regime.
She was tweeting a lot last night. She was so happy for her husband. She was like tweeting a lot. And I was like, Nick Aldis, you're going to have some good time in your household tonight because your wife is very happy for you being in the WWE. Like, she's very, very happy for him. Because you can tell, like, she's probably wanted it for him when she went back there. And then he nearly went there. And then there's so many things that's going on. But I'm just so happy that he's finally getting the opportunity. But again, we can't stress the fact that he's a year younger than most of the main eventers. Please invest in Nick Aldis. You can't be like, oh, we need more talent. He's there. He's in the suit. Just make him wrestle. Gosh.
Do you know, me and Luke were doing a WrestleTalk Extra podcast for Patreon, and it was a TNA show that British Invasion were on. Love them. And of course, Nick Aldis was Magnus back then. And I'm looking at Magnus, I'm like, your hair is further back here about 12 years ago than it is right now. So I just did the Google, Nick Aldis hair transplant. It's no secret. Him and Mickie James are doing a testimonial on YouTube for a hair transplant clinic where it was done. And it's such a weird video because Aldis is, it's the way I remember because they asked me to do the same thing when I had mine. And it's like the day of, and you're crapping your pants. So it's like Nick Aldis there. He looks so stressed. And Mickey's going, yeah, he's always wanted to do this. It's such a weird video.
Wait, Nick always had a hair transplant.
I'm 100. Yeah, I'm as confident as I can be because he's on a
guys
video.
do have a similar hairstyle now that I look at it. No wonder you like him. He's a mirror image of you. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah, we've got the exact same build. And
I mean,
jaw,
when you look, I mean, for those of you who don't know my break kayfabe, this guy just came from the gym. This gym bunny over here, he was looking in the mirror, goes, "Who's this? Yeah, Nick Aldis. You want to be me, baby?"
Yeah. That's what most professional wrestlers think of when they look at Ollie Davis on the YouTube.
Well, you do have a.
Now
Nick
that's
Aldis,
a body.
You and Nick Aldis have the same hairstyle, the same. Yeah.
I wish I could get muscle transplants then.
You don't need muscle transplant. You
Take
just
some and just stick some muscles on me.
Dude, you don't need to do that. You've got what it takes to be the size you want to be.
Thanks, Sam.
Yes.
Should we go through the whole episode? The
Why
season
not?
premiere. It started off with John Cena coming down to the ring. Bab, 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 bab. And then he was interrupted right away by the return of Roman Reigns. And I haven't been watching SmackDown every week, particularly not the last 3 weeks because I was on holiday. But, it feels so much better when Roman's there. Is that true?
110%. When he's not there, they're grasping at straws. That's why Jimmy's back in the bloodline. Because I was saying it for weeks that as much as Jimmy Uso turning on Roman and going back to the bloodline doesn't make sense, I prefer Jimmy being in the bloodline because the bloodline will be just Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. You know what I'm saying? Solo Sikoa's character is a silent assassin. The more you make him talk, he loses mystique. So you need someone that Paul talks to.
Yeah.
And that's Jimmy. As much as Jimmy turning doesn't make sense, they're still trying to find out who Jimmy is. So Jimmy turned out to be he's too big for his boots. He's Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, a casino kind of character. So I don't know if you watched Fastlane, but Paul Heyman was fully grey in Fastlane.
Oh, I read that his hair was different.
Yeah.
But his hair looked back to normal here when Roman's a little bits like that.
Exactly.
Have you listened to the Heyman interview with Rick Rubin?
I did.
Oh, what a podcast.
It was, but at the same time, no offense. I love Paul Heyman, but I have my feel Paul Heyman after 45 minutes because he goes into Paul Heyman spiel and you're kind of like, Paul Heyman has that element when you talk, you're like, you're trying to sell me something I don't want to buy and you're telling me something I don't know if it's 100% true.
Before you know it, you've invested in a new
like he does, I don't know, it's because I grew up listening to him and I know that he has an element of a salesman pitch.
He's got a patter that he naturally falls into.
Yes.
I thought that podcast though, that was the most real.
Oh yeah, in terms of his background, his family background and all that was new for me. I never really knew that, but it was also incredible about his close friendship with Brock Lesnar and how their partners were pregnant at the same time. They bonded over that. So yeah, check it out. Rick Rubin's got a podcast, but it's got a complicated name, so it's not have to look it up in order to pitch it. But put in Rick Rubin, Paul Heyman on Google, you'll find the podcast and wherever you get your podcast from.
I sort of cut you off. You were talking about Jimmy and Roman.
Did you really cut me off? No.
You'd wrapped up.
Listen, I wrapped up. Roman Reigns, because you asked me the question.
Yeah.
The question was, is there better Roman Reigns around? The answer is yes. it's better with him around, yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? Like how much they drop the ball on this whole storyline when the main character isn't there. Which is obvious. If you take the main character out of most things, it doesn't tick along with the same momentum. But after Mania, Roman's off. That's probably the worst bit of the modern era of the Bloodline story. And then right after SummerSlam, Roman's off.
Well, to argue, because the last time me and you did a show was actually last year, probably near around winter time.
Yeah.
So the last time you were here, these were the three things going on. You had the Bloodline, you had Bray Wyatt,
and LA Knight.
You had Gunther. So you had three things. So you had Gunther's title reign, you had LA Knight and Bray Wyatt feud, and you had the Bloodline. At least you had three things going for you. What happened is Gunther went to Raw, Bray Wyatt disappeared and unfortunately passed away, and all we had was the Bloodline and storyline. So when you take out Roman Reigns, what do we have? Nothing. We got the Charlotte stuff going on, which is not completely hitting because most of the women's division are missing and some are being miscasted, and you got Bayley losing a lot. So the issue is they don't have that much layers like they had when the last time you hosted the show with me. If they have layers, for example, if Roman went, you'd be like, it's fine, we got Bray stuff going on, we got Gunther, but what happened was we lost all three, and what we were left with was like the bare bones and Paul Heyman talking to his phone every 5 seconds. So it wasn't the most riveting of television to watch.
It's interesting you bring that up because I was thinking about the last time we did a show together in this segment. Because what happens, Bloodline come out, they have a back and forth with John Cena. John Cena's like, I'm not going to challenge for it. Do you think they will have a match, Cena and Roman?
If the actor strike is still going, sure.
Yeah. Well, it took a step back this week, didn't it? So
yeah, because we've seen it. Because no offense, until recently, John Cena was on a massive PLE losing streak. So we know that Cena's not going to win that big title anytime soon, or probably ever. It would be a waste of a match, because it kind of feeds into the narrative of Roman should have lost at Mania, which I do agree. It's just like you're retreating on old things, even to the point when later we talk about the shocking trade from SmackDown. They're retreating old things which they already have done. Because me and you, we talk about narratives. We both love films. One of the big no-nos is when you're retreating old patterns that you've done before. That's a sign of creative bankruptcy.
Well, so Cena reigns, and then Cena says, well, I know someone who has earned a shot at it there. And LA Knight comes out to a huge pop. And I thought, it was this wonderful shot where LA Knight is looking right at Roman Reigns, and the camera guy, or gal, thumbs up. Or they. Why am I
camera person?
Why am I putting an agenda on this camera?
The camera person. Let's just help. The camera person.
The camera person has this shot where it's of LA Knight's face, but he's got the big circle mirror glasses on, and you can just see these two Roman Reigns heads directly in there. I'm like, that's cinema right there. That's a shot that David Fincher would do 50 times to get right.
Yeah. There's your movie reference. I do agree that the shot was great, especially LA Knight, especially in his promo. What I loved is he was very invigorated. He's done something that he hasn't done in a while, which is engage with the crowd, saying yeah. Because I feel like it's been a while since he started doing yeah in his promos. It's kind of like the crowd say yeah, and he says yeah once, but it's kind of like he's getting amped up. Yeah, and then that's what I want, the momentum as you're cutting the promo, and he did not seem out of place in that ring. And John Cena was the world's biggest cheerleader in the background. You see him in the background just jumping for joy. Yay! Your promo's great. Go on, man, I believe in you. And then Roman Reigns is like not amused at all. But I'm a bit shocked that Roman Reigns and LA Knight's next, because I assumed initially that it would be AJ Styles and Roman Reigns a crown jewel, and it'll save Roman Reigns and LA Knight for the Royal Rumble, because LA Knight is someone I can see the crowd wanting to win the Rumble, and you don't want the Rumble to be hijacked. So you do the strategic of putting him in the main event and don't put him in the Rumble, because you might want Cody or Gunther to win the Rumble. That was my ideology.
But when I was thinking about when we last did a show, I remember we were both sitting here and we were talking about how much we're enjoying the Bray Wyatt LA Knight stuff.
Only two.
We were the only two. And you said, oh yeah, because LA Knight is the high school jock who is sort of in the horror movie, who's saying, oh, it's all okay, but actually they're a bit scared. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what he's doing. He's performing it to perfection. And then, like, little did I know, he would come off way better by the end of that whole feud than Bray. And now look at him.
No,
that was last November.
That was last November, because what I said was he is oblivious, because he doesn't know that he's in danger, so he wasn't a coward. What would have ruined it for him if he was a coward? If he did the whole thing, here's my bodyguard, here's my car, it would have been like a comedy heel stick, and it would have looked corny, because WWE can't do comedy. Every time WWE do comedy, it comes across very forced and contrived, and fans turn against it. But with LA Knight, he was trash talking, dressed up as Bray Wyatt, so he did everything that was cool. It kind of reminded me of like when Stone Cold feuded with Bret Hart in 96. He was doing everything heels don't do. He was brave, in your face, cutting scathing promos, and he backed it up. LA Knight backed it up because he did not back down from Bray Wyatt. So for me, when he came out great with it, I was like, yeah, why not? Because he stood up for himself. And a lot of complaints was he's a new character. Well, we're putting a new character with Bray Wyatt. I'm like, I'm so confused. You're putting a main eventer in Bray Wyatt, a former world champion, against a new character, give him a chance to get over. It's like sink or swim, and he swam.
Yeah, definitely. And he's getting the benefits now. Like that is a sharp rise up the card. So well done, WWE, for actually going with momentum. Because if Vince was still in charge here fully, LA Knight would get the sort of Zack Ryder treatment and just get pushed back down the card.
Max Dupree or Future Endeavor from the rumors.
Yeah, exactly. So this segment was really good. LA Knight was absolute fire, and Roman made him feel big as well. And like you said, Cena. Jimmy Uso tries to jump LA Knight at one point, but Knight just like swatted him away. Jimmy is. I'm not really enjoying Jimmy's whole shtick. Nah.
In the beginning, I wasn't, because they didn't know what they wanted him to be until they figured out his thing is he thinks he's the tribal chief. I was like, yeah, sure, let's go with that. He's too big for his boots. He can't survive by himself without his twin brother in the bloodline. He's that person that he's always attached to many things, so he doesn't know who he is as a person. So he latches onto many different personalities of people around him.
Yeah, I get it on paper. I don't enjoy it in practice.
Fair enough, it's true, because if we're meant to do the feud between Jay and Jimmy needs to be a big threat. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
But Solo Sikoa, who is a big threat, challenge night for the main event. After that, we got Pretty Deadly taking on the Brawling Brutes. I love Pretty Deadly.
Yes, boy!
Their entrance just started with, what was it, like a voiceover, putting over Elton Prince's recovery from his injury. Comes out in the wheelchair. He stands up. They've got Elton Strong shirts, which is a bit weird with considering the next Strong, Roderick Strong stuff.
It's a coinkydink.
And they had just a normal match with, I thought, a very, very fun through line of Elton saying, do these little spots showing how strong and resilient he is. And then he fakes an injury. The ref's concerned, and that allowed, I can't remember the other guy's name.
Ridge, the Fridge.
No, Kit.
Oh, Kit, yeah, Kit Wilson.
Kit Wilson, that's it. He interfered, let Elton get the roll up on Ridge. He did have a good hot tag as well. So good match, what it was.
Brawling Brutes, man. Brawling Brutes. There's a reason why Sheamus is taking a break. Brawling Brutes, unfortunately, they're a casualty of Imperium leaving. They're a casualty of Pretty Deadly taking that time off as well, because they've been doing nothing. They've been spinning the wheels. They're not been eating. It's a continuation of where they left off with Pretty Deadly, which is losing via nefarious methods that Pretty Deadly's been using to beat them. And you look at someone like Ridge, who's improved massively as a wrestler, and you're like, this team's not really going anywhere, because they're also casualties of the tag titles under one tag team.
Yeah.
Had they split the tag titles up, you've got many tag teams fighting for many different titles. But I feel like the Brawling Brutes haven't been as hot as they were during earlier parts of the year. And you look at someone like Butch, aka Pete Dunne, you're like, they should be doing more with him. Rich Holland's improved as an in-ring performer. Either do more with them as a team or break them up, because I feel like the team has become a detriment to both guys.
I'm surprised Triple H and William Regal haven't done that already, because they love Pete Dunne, and they've still got him there as the Butch name. I reckon before the end of the year, he'll be Pete Dunne.
I think the pieces are falling into place with Nick Aldis now appearing. I think that whatever vision Triple H had that was stalled, that was on pause. For example, I feel like Karrion Kross is a victim of whatever weird backstage thing between Vince and Triple H. I think they had a compromise. It's like, I have this, you have that. So I think people like Nick Aldis not appearing, you're going to see Pete Dunne eventually. I feel like now that if it's true, because it's quite hard, because we heard like Vince retired and then he came back, and then Vince's hand off, then WrestleMania came. You know, there's so many conflicting notions, so I can't be like, yeah, this is a fact, because Endeavor said so. Endeavor said, I have to see it. I'm going to give it to December, and I'm going to text you, I'll be like, okay, I believe it. No, after WrestleMania, then I'll be like, I believe it.
Well, what the easiest way to do is, whenever there's anything bad, say, well, that wasn't Triple H, obviously.
No, it's Triple H, because he takes blame for
Vince.
it. No, I'm not going to be that guy either. I'm not going to be, SP3 taught me a lot. I'm not going to be that guy. Because he goes, no, it's on me. It's on me. Okay, it's on you. So when things are rubbish, it's on Triple H. When things are great, it's on Triple H. When things are rubbish again, it's on Triple H. Until we hear anything different from Triple H's mouth and Vince McMahon's mouth, is on Triple H. He takes the blame for it. It's kind of like, you're the boss. Whenever things go crap, you'll be like, I'm the boss. I did, okay this. Unless you're telling me something different, I'm going to blame you.
Yeah, I'm sure he says that publicly and then feeds some stories about Vince making changes behind the scenes. So Carlito is backstage after his return at Fastlane, and he's about to eat his apple, spit in the face of someone because they're not cool, and Bobby Lashley shows up. They have a sort of good-natured joshing, I would say, and then the Street Profits jump Carlito. Yeah. Continuing that feud.
So we've been seeing a slow heel turn of the Street Profits, but they still have their theme song and they still got the same shtick as before. So it hasn't been like a quick... They changed the outfits, wearing suits, but they still got their old personality. So the whole thing is Bobby Lashley is basically a bad influence, turning them heel. but I want it to happen quicker now because the beginning part I understood. I was like, okay, it's a slow turn, but I'm like, after the tag team match, it's obvious that Bobby Lashley's a heel. Street Profits, you're doing heelish things. Let's just complete the heel turn. New music, new demeanor. Because it's kind of like we see the backstage attack. The next week they're gonna be jumping and dancing, and I'm like, come on, guys, just be brooding heels or something. I don't know. It feels like they go 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I'm not 100% impressed with what I've been seeing because they had their first tag match as a team and they lost. Yeah. And then it's quite confusing because they're putting themselves in a situation where you got a returning Carlito who can't lose because he's returning, but you got this new group that you want to get over. It's kind of like if the Shield, I use the Shield as an example, Shield on their first match as a six-man and they lose, all momentum's gone. So for me, it's kind of like be careful how you're booking them because you only get one first impression and 1 second chance. Because after 1 second chance, you blew it. Third one, you'd be like, I can't trust you. You already got my hopes up and you dashed it. And Carlito had a crap theme song. Def Rebel, that's not nice. He came back, he had a crap song. Use his classic song. Use his classic one. Don't give him any crappy songs. Because when he came out, it was like, what the F is he using?
LWO are sort of helping Carlito after the break. And Selena Vega's there, of course. And then Bayley is trying to say to Adam Pearce, I want a title celebration thing. This is before Nick Aldis was introduced, obviously. And Pearce is like, go away! A man's dead here! And Zelina Vega and Bayley have a match afterwards. And it was pretty much just a very quick match. Io Sky did a bit of interference, but Vega fought her off. But then Bayley got the win. They go to beat her down afterwards. And Charlotte Flair has a trot, a casual trot down.
Baywatch style.
Yeah, she was doing slow-mo in real life because she doesn't care anymore, it feels like.
You think in real life? You're saying, oh, the character.
Oh, yeah, because surely the character cares.
You're saying what's written on paper is not coming across on the screen, right? It's like, what's the character motivation that doesn't match with the performance.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Ronda Rousey syndrome.
Ooh, we're getting to Ronda Rousey territory, then that's quite bad. I hope so because it's quite hard because when it comes to Charlotte Flair, I always do a disclaimer that I do not blame any of the booking on her, even though she has enough equity to say no to some things, but it's the booking, it's how they book her. But because when you look at the four horsewomen, they all somehow evolved as characters, and then at one point it seemed like she was heading that trajectory where she called herself the Opportunity last year. I was like, that's a bit different when she was dressing up as Disney villains. It was a change. She wasn't dressing in her dad's old robes anymore. It seemed like she finally had a motivation for her change. But the issue is they keep putting her in title feuds, and we don't know what Charlotte Flair is like outside of title feuds. We would like to see a change in the personality because in the years she's been in WWE, she's been one character, and it gets a bit stale after a while. But it's not her fault because that's how she books her. But like I said, she's got enough equity where she can go, I don't want that, can I change this, can we do this? Because she's not a good baby face at all. She comes across very condescending and cutting, and she puts people down, so you can't really cheer for that. So she's better as a heel, but if I make her a baby face, do something different that endears her to people, which is keep away from the title and give her different feuds and to elevate the division. So it's a hard one. When it comes to Charlotte Flair, I feel it's a very delicate subject because you don't want to put all the blame on the performer, but at the same time it's like, what are we doing here? It's the same thing. We're always dreading her having title opportunities because she's in there all the time. It's like every month, I'm like, every time I turn around, who's Charlotte wrestling this time? Whoever's champion, my goodness.
When I did my Fastlane predictions while I was on holiday on Wrestle League, I predicted the card. I was like, I've not predicted any title changes. So I usually try and predict a title change. So I look, okay, well, what's the most likely one? I see the women's triple threat. I see Charlotte's in it. Yeah, that's happening. That's how overdone Charlotte Flair title opportunities and wins are. But yeah, she made the save for Zelina Vega, and then later on in the backstage bit that we've talked about, Nick Aldis said she'll be getting a title match next week against Io Sky because of the Fastlane shenanigans. And then she turns around into Jade Cargill for what was actually a great stare down. It's one of those tense moments.
It's because Jade Cargill's 5'10" and Charlotte Flair's 5'10" as well. So you're looking at two statuesque women staring at each other, So it's like the star power was oozing in that exchange. And I was like, oh, this could be a potential WrestleMania match. Because initially, we were all rooting or hoping for a Bianca Belair Charlotte Flair match, which I wouldn't mind still happening. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair. But then again, people are actually campaigning that Jade Cargill squashes Charlotte Flair a la Brock Lesnar, John Cena.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Yeah, just pump kick and jaded 1, 2, 3.
Well, I feel like this show in particular as a season premiere, it felt like, for the first time in a couple of months really on WWE TV programming, that it's the start of the road to WrestleMania, like the long way to WrestleMania. Usually that starts in Survivor Series, but, you know, that's a month and a bit away. So maybe maybe the Jade Charlotte bit here is a setup for the program that concludes at WrestleMania. If you go the squash route, Survivor Series, do Lesnar Goldberg?
Yeah. Yeah, Jade Cargill's first match against Charlotte Flair, because that'd be a great way, because because I'm always on social media, this man is not. He retired from social media. So Jade Cargill's first appearance was actually at the recent NXT No Mercy PLE. So some people are complaining, well, her first appearance is coming out of the car at a PLE and is on the pre-show as well. She wasn't on the main roster, so people were complaining. But now we've had her official on-screen appearance. It makes sense to announce that her first match at Survivor Series is against Charlotte. Let's just say Charlotte doesn't win because Jade Cargill interferes, maybe. Who knows? And then you set up Survivor Series. And then my hope is actually that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill becomes an alliance. And they start run roughshod on the tag division and win the tag titles, and then just become this big badass team that probably break up by WrestleMania or SummerSlam.
Yeah, because Jade versus Bianca's a bit of a dream match as well.
I think you should save it. I think have them as a duo, because that's something you haven't seen before, and it's something you wouldn't expect. Because you look at Jade, you're like, oh yeah, Jake versus Bianca. It's like, why not have them team up first, build them up, then tease the breakup, and then break them up, and then have the match between them.
I love Cargill squashing Charlotte in the first encounter of a series of matches.
See, you're hooked on it. That's what people are hoping for, because it's like it'll be something different, and it'll humanize Charlotte as well, because John Cena got humanized 100%. Even though people were like, this is the Bryan Danielson booking that never happened. That Cena took it. Oh yeah, I'll do it. Because he was initially meant to beat Daniel Bryan getting squashed by Lesnar, but Daniel Bryan's neck injury, he took time off, and then John Cena became champion. They're like, John, you gonna do that booking? Yeah, sure. I'll put Lesnar over. A fix up from what happened at Backlash when I beat him after 2 moves. Yeah.
Well, after that, we had the Triple H segment where he announced the sort of overhaul. Kevin Owens, of course, moved across.
How did you feel about that?
Well, he described it himself as bittersweet, because I love Kevin Owens. He's one of those people I've been following since his ROH days, and nothing's been as good. I've seen crazy tweener Kevin Steen, and that's the best. And then you've got prize fighter in NXT, is pretty damn close to that. And then in his main roster run, he's just, it feels like we're building to something like that, building. Oh no, actually re-gimmick. And I'm really hopeful that now Triple H's in control fully, he's been moved across, we could get that proper Kevin Owens, maybe a heel Kevin Owens. Hasn't been a heel for a while.
I feel
but then it's also sad that I feel like him and Sammy never got that actual tag team run. It felt like they only got a tag title win, which was one of the best wrestling moments in my memory.
Yeah.
But the follow-up wasn't as good.
The follow-up was weird, because they went through a phase on Monday Night Raw where they had the best tag team matches on Raw every single week, and then they stopped doing
story.
It was just matches, a random match against Imperium members, random matches against, whoever.
Let's get a Matt Riddle in.
Yeah.
Let's get a random person to join us.
I understand, because I too was looking forward to, Stenerico having a main roster tag run, which never came to fruition. At the same time, I started tweeting saying that, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's WrestleMania journey looks very, very uncertain and murky. What's stopping from a Kevin Owens heel turn on Sami Zayn? I kept saying that. I was making a joke that this whole entire Kevin Owens swallowing his So
The rage. Yeah.
the rage. So because someone did a great thread on Twitter saying that Kevin Owens has anger issues, so he enjoys like hurting people. Every time when he comes out, he does this thing where he takes a deep breath. That's him holding his rage in. And every time when he turns heel, he actually exhales. That's like a cigarette moment. It's kind of like the hit. So he's got rage issues, which they made jokes about on Raw.
Yeah.
You know, Sammy goes, "You got rage issues," you always, you know. And then Sammy kept putting himself in a naive situation, which is annoying Kevin. But Kevin goes, "I love this guy, so I'm gonna center myself." So after the whole Jay situation, the Cody, the tag titles, I feel like this is all leading to Kevin Owens is gonna blow up and just turn on Sammy, because I can see it in their mind saying, "We've never wrestled at WrestleMania against each other." You know, that's like another thing as well. We've main event in WrestleMania as a tag team. Let's face each other at WrestleMania against each other. Even though it would be like the 10,000th heel turn, but it's like WrestleMania will justify it happening because you know they'll go, scrotum to the wall. Trying not to get penalized, especially next to this guy.
So scrotum was the word
is that bad?
you went for?
Yeah.
Scrotum over balls was what you were going to say,
I
right?
don't know what. Listen, one day you have to sit me down and tell me these are the list of words you can't say, and they'll get us penalized, and I'll know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went scrotum because I thought that's a scientific term. You go to the doctors and they say scrotum. They wouldn't say the BALLS. No. Like I was saying, Kevin Owens, I assumed it would be Kevin Owens with Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, but now I don't know. Because Kevin Owens has been the victim of three things. Goldberg. Kofi Mania. Roman Reigns title run. Is it so bad that this guy's not back on SmackDown? It's like, man, this guy's still champion. I've feuded him with the last 2-3 years and he's still champion. That's because Roman's still champion. It's still an ongoing thing. Kevin Owens could be champion. He had more of a chance on Raw because, Seth Rollins and probably Gunther might win it. But now that he's back on SmackDown, you've got like LA Knight in a way. You've got Cody Rhodes in a way. So like you're saying, he's a victim of circumstances. It's just like every time he gets the ball rolling, something gets in the way. Some guy, trajectory goes higher than him or whatever. He's just a victim of circumstance. It's not due to his own, it's not no fault of his, it's just booking.
Well, exciting though, but also sad. We got a Dragon Lee promo. Of course, he's been on SmackDown recently and moved officially to the SmackDown roster. Yeah. So it's all official. It's a call up. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven were talking to Aldis. That's when the Charlotte thing happened. We got just a pretty standard tag match for Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. They beat Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Decent match.
A-Town Down Under.
Yeah.
I like the team name.
That's good.
They're like the modern day Miz and Morrison.
Yeah, very much so.
Because I was saying to Tempest a few weeks ago that Austin Theory has done everything you can do as a heel. He's been a heel champion a couple of times. There's been people, again, I'm going to go back on Twitter because I'm on that place a lot. Some people saying, "Oh, I can't wait for Austin Theory to become a babyface, just like John Cena's hero." And I was like, "Oh, they're gonna turn him babyface." But that's the best way to do it, by having Grayson Waller turn on him.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, I love saying everything to WrestleMania because, like you're saying, it's WrestleMania season. You look at the wrestlers, so it's either two things: A-Town Down Under will be in a fatal 4-way tag match, or it will be Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory. And the other thing I was also predicting is Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar for the US title at WrestleMania.
Okay. Santos Escobar as a heel?
110%. As much as I like Santos Escobar as a babyface, but I like the way he was a babyface in NXT when he was feuding with Tony D'Angelo. He was very earnest. He's very earnest now, but the way he's as an earnest babyface, they made him kind of a schmuck. He lost the suits being on the boat. He had a cool factor, which now they're pretending like he's just like working class. Yeah. I hate when they betray a wrestler's character when they turn him babyface. Kind of like, no, you kidnap people in vans. You guys kidnap people. Why are you not kidnapping people now? Yeah. You sit on yachts and you have this negotiation. You're the emperor of Lucha Libre. So I hate the fact that he's lost himself in this. It's meant to lead to a feud of Rey. It's meant to like, you're meant to be my new son. You not betrayed me, and it's meant to make him a bigger heel because when he came to the main roster, not a lot of people watch NXT, so they didn't know who he was. First impressions, blah blah blah. But by giving him the Rey Mysterio rub and hooking people into the storyline, when he turns on him, is even more, conflicting and even more betraying.
Well, the coolest thing about this match was the post-match, because it fed into the following match, which was the main event, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa. Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes victorious. They're walking up the ramp to exit. And then Solo Sikoa with Jimmy Uso come down. And then you get this really cool stare-down moment on the ramp of these two teams, Jimmy and Jay, Solo and Cody, Solo and Jimmy. It was just like, and the tag titles in the mix of all of this. I was like, my God, that's a context-heavy little feud there. And before you know it, then Roman Reigns enters with Paul Heyman, and he steps in front of them to get in Cody Rhodes' face. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a bigger one. And then Nick Aldis appears, and this is my favorite thing on the whole episode. Nick Aldis just stood between them, not looking at them, but just like one hand between them. And that is what they do in the boxing or MMA weigh-ins. Whereas like the previous way that an Adam Pearce or enter, all the producers of WWE. No.
Yeah.
They'll be all over it. They'll be looking at them. But Aldis just brought this legitimacy to it that I really, really appreciated. And, if you asked me a couple of months ago, you were excited for Roman versus Cody 2 at WrestleMania. I've been like, nah. I'm curious. I mean, I want to see it, but almost so we can just get it out the way. This one moment, this one stare down has totally reignited me actually wanting to see the story that leads to the match.
Do you know why? Because they haven't wasted it. This is the first time they've looked at each other since, I think, Raw, when Cody said you've earned it, even though he cheated to beat him.
Right.
So they haven't overexposed them being in the same building or looking at each other. So this is the first crumb to say, hey, the story's going to be finished. Because on Raw, Michael Cole kind of buried Cody Rhodes, saying, hey, this is your story. That's the story you came back for. And it's good. He needed
just the tag titles, mate.
He needed to kick up the pants. Yeah. It's funny they use Michael Cole as a guy because you know what happened. They couldn't get Arn Anderson and to do the Glock promo, so there's like we need a PG version of the Glock promo. Yeah. Get Michael Cole because he's good at burying people when you want him to. So Michael Cole's the one to give him the kick up the pants. Like, hey, this seems like a hollow victory, a second place. Are you happy being second place? And it gave Cody that thinking, and people thinking as well. By the way, that Cody's playing chess. So because he orchestrated Jey Uso's switch over to Raw, they think Cody Rhodes is behind Kevin Owens going to SmackDown to cause some grief for the bloodline while he gets ready to, make his next step. Because the tag titles gives him a passport to come to SmackDown.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he's like, yeah, you're laughing at me for having tag titles, but look at me now.
That is a great strategy. Yeah. I hadn't picked up on that. Yeah. It's nice when you look at a babyface and you go, that's smart. You're a smart babyface. Because that's, in WWE, that's really only reserved for heels. Very good stuff. And that fed into the main event, which was LA Knight beating Solo Sikoa. LA Knight just worked a John Cena match.
Why not?
Which is fine because, I love LA Knight, but in the ring, he's sort of...
No, don't say that. Listen, how many people can do a flying leap to the top rope and do suplex? And how many people can do a springboard splash? He can do very athletic things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I hear people go, he's great on the microphone, but he's not great in the ring. I was like, what mustard do you have in your eyes when you're watching his match? He's a decent in-ring performer. He's not at the level of the wrestling we watch today, because the wrestling we watch today is like the pacing has quickened. But he's got a great base. He's got an old school approach to wrestling, which we don't see anymore. He's very much a 2000 style wrestler, which used to be fine. He's like what Randy Orton is, because you get a lot of people on social media saying Randy Orton's a boring wrestler. But I'm like, for a lot of old school wrestlers, they see Randy Orton as like the pinnacle of selling and facial expression and because they don't sell enough. I think LA Knight is a decent in-ring performer. I just hate when people say he has a great promo, but I'm like, but how many guys can do some of the cool things he can do?
I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely athleticism, and anyone who gets in a wrestling ring has a lot of that. But it's more that, like Baron Corbin, for instance, is someone I also think who's very good on the mic, who has a move set that I love, but I can't deny I'm not actually interested in these matches because there is some sort of thing that's missing there to take it to the very next level. Whereas Rock, not the best in-ring wrestler ever, but
you're hurting my heart again.
But like he has that, whatever that is, that makes me invested in every single move and bit of pacing. And if you're going to replicate a John Cena style, which is a style I personally hate, this is the in-ring portion of LA Knight is not for me.
I'm going to counter argue the Rock part. 2001, The Rock was incredible in ring.
Yeah, he'd like
when he leaned down, shortened his hair. His matches with Rob Van Dam, matches with Rhino, Kurt Angle. 2002, he was also on a good run as well. Rock is underrated in the ring. That's all I got to say about that. In terms of LA Knight, I see more of as a base. I think if you give him I think he just works with what wrestlers working with. It's a TV match. It's like him and Solo are not going to do a strong style kind of clubbering match. I guess he got told it's a TV match. Do some key moves and go home. So he's gonna do key moves and go home. I feel like if given the opportunity, he can prove himself. But he's one of those wrestlers where he doesn't have to do that. It's not part of his character. His character is not best wrestler in the world. His character is loudmouth, and you've got some cool moves. Baron Corbin, same thing. He's more of a base for more talented wrestlers. That's why my favorite Baron Corbin matches are with Chad Gable. The King of the Ring final match.
Yeah, they were really good.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's more of a base. He's just a big guy, does big moves. So if you put him with another big guy, for example, Gunther, he can do a Gunther-style match because Gunther would take him there. I think he's more of a base, a wrestler where you mold him to wherever wrestler is facing.
Well, it'd be interesting to see him versus Roman Reigns because for me, that is probably the. I mean, who have Knight's big matches been with? Obviously, there was Bray, but that was just. You can't win in that scenario, really.
Everyone's favorite wrestler, The Miz.
Yeah, there was the Miz match. I wasn't into that. I thought it was, very subpar. But Roman consistently has. I mean, and I love the Roman template main event match.
It hasn't been working lately because I think the Jey Uso match kind of rubbed people off the wrong way.
Yeah, but that was the last one.
Exactly.
All the other. So I'd be really interested to see how LA Knight's in-ring work is amplified by Roman's.
See, I said all of that. Now I'm kind of worried now. Now I'm kind of worried because Roman's deliberate pace match works when he's facing a wrestler that does the dynamic stuff. Because Roman is a heel, he hides his moveset. Because again, going back on Twitter, a lot of people remind us the big dog Roman Reigns had a lot more moveset, which he does than he does now. Because he does the whole walking promo, slow, lethargic kind of stuff. It works when you got a wrestler that's gonna pump the energy, and I'm hoping that LA Knight can be that guy, but he's not like, for example, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's not like a Logan Paul situation where Logan Paul's gonna fly around the ring to offset that kind of slow pace of the match.
That's a good comparison,
Yeah, because that is who people want in the ring with Roman. You want that kind of exciting style, and I feel like Roman and LA Knight could clash because they both kind of got a style that might come across clunky, or because I feel like no one has the attention span for slow burn matches anymore. It's kind of like those long-winded vibe films where it's like so much mood setting, less dialogue, or there's a lot more dialogue but not enough action going on. So I'm a bit worried. And there's also going to be in Saudi Arabia as well. A lot of people gonna be I don't know. The match. I don't know. The more I'm thinking about it, I'm defending LA Knight, but I'm like, put LA Knight with any other guy that's not gonna do a long-winded promo in the ring. Then but I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
But overall, LA Knight won this match. He was what happened? Jimmy Uso ran in, was going to attack LA Knight, but John Cena appeared from out of nowhere. Maybe he was always there, and he just flicked off the invisibility cloak, and he intercepts Jimmy, hoists him up onto his shoulders, hits the AA, and that let Knight beat Solo. And then Knight is celebrating, turns round, right into a spear, and I love this from Roman. He's just walking around for ages, soaks in the heat, and he just very slowly does the LA Knight point, and then points up for the acknowledgement. Really good, really effective season premiere. You introduced a few new characters. You overhauled the sort of authority figure system with Aldis, and LA Knight Roman. The tag title picture, a future feud of Roman Cody and Jade and Charlotte. Well done. I mean, so many of those are Roman Reigns involved. So if you take out Reigns, what have you really got? But very, very effective pro wrestling show.
I just wanted to add before people forget, Solo Sikoa doesn't lose often. So I feel like, is this the second time he has lost a singles match? Because I know he lost to Cody to end his undefeated streak that he had on the main roster. So I think LA Knight might be the second person to pin him in a singles match. Someone has to correct me on that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Knight will use that
as
part of the build. Well, overall, I gave it 85% in my review. What would you give it out of 5?
I give it 3 out of 5, man.
3 out of 5?
Yeah,
man.
It's
harsh. I gave it I liked it way more.
The moments were great. I don't want to...
There was no great wrestling match on this show.
I'm going to do the thing I always do. There wasn't enough women's segment.
Yeah.
So there wasn't enough women's segment, and there wasn't enough matches. I just felt like the moments is what carried the show. Like you said it yourself. Like on the other show, the other company, they do a lot of great wrestling. And WWE is what the moments power. We make movies. They make movies. They create moments. They put in video packages. So they did a great build towards Crown Jewel and potentially Survivor Series. And I'm so happy there wasn't an appearance of Judgment Day because I'm over them. I'm over the group. It's like it's like the Bloodline template doesn't work for every group.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here for today. If you enjoyed me and Sat, go over to partsFUNknown right now because we are competing in fantasy booking warfare. Our series has returned over there.
Yes.
Called a final match.
Oh, I'm wearing a wig. In just to let you know, in that match, I'm wearing a wig. So, I've got no hair at the moment. In there, you'd be like, he's got hair in it. It's a wig.
Yeah. Because we recorded it literally today,
just today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But for now, please subscribe. Go check out the WrestleTalk News channel as well. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Sat E Day. Jam that jam.